Wanted to start off by just acknowledging Coach Travis Hudson and Rachel Anderson and Sophia Serino for coming by and stopping by last night and sharing with our team on Sunday night about Alyssa Kavanaugh's fight and her battle. And so our team is committing just alongside with this department to registering with the bone marrow registry to try to save Alyssa's life. She's gonna win this fight. We all know that, and we want to be a part of joining that. So if you're watching this press conference, if you see this clip, strongly encourage every one of us that are toppers or anybody to go to our website WKUsports.com, and there's information about how to join in this bone marrow registry. So I wanted to also acknowledge, obviously, the situation that happened with Middle Tennessee State with a young man who was injured. Great news to hear that he's doing better. Was a scary moment for everybody involved, but was definitely very encouraged to see that he is on his way towards recovery, and his family and he has been in our prayers. Game was a game that was tough. Watch the film. It was a game of opportunity. It was. There were opportunities in the red zone. There were opportunities, for us to get our hands on balls defensively. And I think the storyline was not capitalizing on drives, which obviously has been a storyline, and making those plays in the red zone. And then when we did have opportunities to climb back into it, just falling short of making that happen. And got to play better, got to coach better in those situations. And then defensively, had a couple opportunities to get some takeaways, and so we got to get those takeaways in those critical moments. And but the rush totals were high for our defense, and that's something that I think we've done a good job of. I was pleased with how we limited the red zone scoring chances. I think there were 5 trips as we calculated inside the red zone, and Middle Tennessee only scored 1 touchdown of those 5 trips, within the 25-yard line, how we calculated. So big week this week, FAU. Excited to go down there to Boca Raton. It's an area that we recruit. We got a lot of players on our team from that area, and they're playing obviously at a really high level after last week's convincing victory over FIU. Ran the ball extremely well, and we got to stop the run, and we got to stay on the field offensively and score points.
What's Jacquez's?
Yeah, really kind of an unfortunate situation for Jacquez. Great, obviously emerging as one of our most consistent playmakers all over the field. Whether it be underneath, throw it to him and he gets 15, 20 yards extra, or the down the field threat that he is. We're still getting more information, but he was, it affected the outcome of the game to a certain extent. Obviously one of your best playmakers goes down in the second quarter. He was close to 100 yards at that point in time. That affects your ability to exploit the defense. But one thing I did think was encouraging is moving Lucky Jackson outside. You kind of got to see some of his playmaking ability, and Ja'Cour Pearson moving inside, see some of his playmaking ability. And I think that the guys stepped up and did fill roles and move around and did some good things.
It's kind of looked like Ja'Cour has become a real focal point in this offense over the past couple of weeks. So how do you have to kind of change your offensive game plan going into this week, knowing you won't have him anymore?
Yeah, I think we have talented players. We got capable players, and we're going to keep putting them in those positions to go make plays. Lucky Jackson, Quinn Jernigan, Ja'Cour Pearson, tight end. I think we have 3 dynamic players. We're going to continue to put them in position to make plays, and I have all the confidence in the world in their abilities and who they are and their work ethic and their belief, and they're going to make those plays. I think Mike Wandine, Kyle Fortenberry, and Chris Leach are all very capable playmakers. So we got to keep giving them opportunities and at-bats, and they're going to make plays.
And the quarterback situation is kind of back to an open competition, or is Drew still feeling the effects of that hit from Friday, or what's kind of the plan moving forward in that position?
Yeah, I mean, they never really experienced anything like this at the position, and it's a lot of the factors are out of our control, out of the players' control. There's some health factors that have played a role in really, each one of them. Drew Eccles had won the starting job. Going into this year, he was our clear-cut starting quarterback to start the season out. Really in back-to-back games in his first 2 starts, sustained injuries, and obviously wasn't really able to completely finish any of those games, with the exception of the main game where he got hurt on just about the last play, if not the last play of the game. And then, and he finally comes back. He's been working his tail off to rehab, and had a great week of practice. He's a senior that's paid his dues, and I thought he made some great plays. He made some. I mean, his throw to Sloan was outstanding. I think just unfortunate that he got nicked back up, and it wasn't even a contact injury. So we'll see what happens with him. Davis Shanley had some slight health concerns as well that didn't eliminate him from playing, but limited him in his availability last week. I was very pleased with Stephen Duncan and his readiness to give us a spark first play out the gate and throw a great ball down the field to Lucky Jackson. And I thought he put the ball in some really good places throughout the rest of the game. And he's a guy that I think they know that there's going to be opportunities to make plays.
What's the game plan for stopping Devin Singletary this week?
You can't tackle him single-handedly. He's not a guy that one defender in open space is going to be able to get him down. And you could see they've gone through different phases offensively this year. I watch FAU's offense almost every week. I think there are actually some similarities and schematics in our backgrounds, in the systems that we grew up in. A lot of ties, ironically, to the West Coast offensive system. That I learned at Stanford and then was a part of here, and then Lane Kiffin at USC, Oakland Raiders. That's a big part of his background as well. So we watch them and study them, and they've gone through a lot of different waves. I think Chris Robinson's a very, very capable, talented quarterback. There have been games where he throws the ball upwards of 30 times, and then there's games like last game where he threw it 10 times and they ran the ball for 400 plus. You can tell that that's kind of their rhythm right now. They want to get the ball in Singletary's hands and White's hands. White's an outstanding runner. There have been games where you see him even take more carries than Singletary. He's a guy that can hit a home run too. He's got top end speed. So the bottom line is you got to get more than one defender to the point of contact, and you've got to wrap up because you're not going to be able to tackle him consistently in open space. So that's the game plan is be on point with our run fits.
Does that become even more important this week with the rush defense issues you guys had this past week?
It is, and last week's rush issues. The one explosive run, the 60-yard run, that happened. It's part of the run game is to eliminate explosives. I think that the outside zone play that Middle Tennessee State was running was something they'd showed on film, but they hadn't featured it prominently. That runner, number 44, is not a guy that had been a stalwart, in their backfield, and you saw him get going on that outside zone play. Ran it patiently and then hit it for 60 yards, and then had a couple other 10-plus runs on the play. We'd spent a lot of time fitting the counter and the gap schemes and the inside zone schemes. We prepared for the outside zone scheme, but their bread and butter the whole year had been counter, and so they made an adjustment. I thought Clayton and our defense that made a nice adjustment after the one explosive play. Just you can't give up big runs like that and expect to keep your run totals down.
With your own run game, it seems like one week it's really good, and then the next week it kind of takes a step back. What do you kind of have to do to get that group to consistently produce good numbers week in, week out?
I think got to keep giving them chances. I thought early on we established a nice flow of running the football, but we just got to keep giving those backs opportunities, keep giving our offensive line opportunities. The passing totals in terms of the attempts were very high. Some of those were uncalled runs. They were. So those aren't all just purely called drop back passes. There's runs with the pass option built into it. But I think our formula has been most efficient and successful when we give our opportunities to our running backs to go and get into a rhythm.
3 games left, and last week you had the motivation of a rivalry game. But what's the idea now going into it with 3 games, just trying to keep these guys in the locker room?
Yeah, in terms of keeping our players motivated and first of all, they love this game. They love this game. I love this game. Our coaches love coaching this game. And I think there's a genuine love that we have for one another, players and their brotherhood. I think there's a closeness to the group that we have right now. Being a football team that's gone through adversity, being a football team that, has had an influx of new players come in and play. I think we're finding that the relationship piece to be very strong. And so I don't think that the motivation of keeping the guys together or keep playing hard is a challenge. The next step is to find that confidence in making those plays down the stretch that help you win football games. And I have a lot of faith in these players and their abilities to do so. I really do. And we're going to keep doing what we believe is giving us the best chance to win football games, and that's give our playmakers opportunities to make plays, and they have been at times. And I think it's just that those critical moments where we need to make that one more play either side of the ball. I think an area of growth that we saw, and a little bit of a side note here, was our punting, which was really a positive. Alex Ranella had a monster of a game, punting the ball, and I think making some changes there, with how much he kicked during the week, I think it paid dividends, and he did flip the field quite a bit. Special teams wise, we won the hidden yardage total. The block field goal was operation time. It's got to be better. The snap's got to be better. The hold's got to get down. But the operation time, when you have an edge rusher block it in his stomach, that means the operation time's not where it needs to be, and that's that's something we got to clean up, because earlier in the year it was internal push against Louisville. The main game was a long kick, so it was a lower trajectory type kick to try to be able to get it 50 plus. But this was we got to make sure our operation time is where it needs to be.
Mike, I know you said multiple times that the rest of the season is, you got to play for pride, play for these seniors. And talking after the game with Lucky, he echoed that sentiment, but also said, using this season as almost fuel for next season. Do you kind of see that in the younger guys on this team?
I do. I think what I don't want to have happen is that we discount the commitment of these seniors to look towards next year. But I think everything is cyclical. You take care of if you take care of today, and just literally just Monday today, which is an academic day, a film study day. It gets you in better position to have a better Tuesday practice. And I think just taking it literally one day at a time, whether you're a senior and you're playing your last 3 games of meaningful snaps of college football, or you're a freshman that is wanting to continue to get better and build towards a successful career, both individually and as a team. I think that the focus has to be on the now, which ultimately will pay rewards and dividends in different ways to different players that are in different stages of their career. So I do like that about this team a lot. The team meeting last night mentioned that Coach Travis Hudson came and talked about Alyssa's story and the fight and the battle that she's in, and that we're going to join with her. Just seeing how our team was receptive towards wanting to be a part of locking arm in arm with that, and understanding that there is some perspective about life and about there's other things that are happening as much as the adversity and that we're facing right now is tough and challenging. You've got to continue to fight every day and get better, and that's what we're doing.
Mike, you mentioned Coach Hudson coming to talk to you guys. Just seeing your players and your coaching staff yesterday and Saturday, and I was waiting to ask this after just your gut feeling. How are they pulling up mentally and emotionally? Because I know this has got to be hard on them.
Yeah, they're mighty men. They are. They're mighty men. They're men that are I do believe, are shoulder to shoulder, locked up together, and are willing and ready to tackle every and any obstacle that comes their way. They're mighty men. I believe that there's no flinch, there's no quit, there's no pointing fingers. We have gotten closer through this season. We have gained a different level of trust for one another through this season, and the fact that it's going that way, and the fact that I believe that our team is ready and willing to accept any and every obstacle, to me shows where this thing is continually going to be heading towards. Because if it was fractured, and if you saw the effort start to dip, you saw the togetherness start to dip, then there would be concerns about the state of where we're at, and more importantly, the state of where we're going. And I believe that this is a group that is incredibly close.
Mike, one more thing. I'm not asking you, you can say it collectively, but has there been a player or two that just comes to mind, without looking at video, just based on what you see on the sideline, where you thought back to that opening game at Wisconsin until the most recent game and thought, boy, this player's really come along by leaps and bounds. Does anyone come to mind?
Yeah, I would say the entire offensive line group as a whole. Going into that game, rightfully so, there's a ton of question marks about a group playing, completely brand new, 5 starters, 5 positions. I just think that the way that they've grown together and bonded together, I see that that is a group that is going to be an absolute strength of this football team for the years that are ahead of us, and I think is becoming almost the emotional backbone, certainly, of our offense, and I think will become that for our team. I think the offensive line's a group. I think the running back group as a whole, to know that you basically have 3 first-time, players that are going through their first season of college football, period, and they're taking a lion's share of every rep of the season. I believe that group comes to work and practices as hard as any group I've been around at that position. They run the ball with their hair on fire in practice every day, and you can start seeing them run the ball with decisiveness and downhill on game days. Thank you, guys.